Unlock your dream property with Meeks Realty Group, where Rich the Realtor makes real estate dreams a reality. Whether it's residential or commercial, we've got Charleston to Huntington covered. Your key to exceptional real estate experiences start here. Meeks Realty Group. Contact us at meeks.us.
The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
558-58. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-5008. Matt Guitar Murphy is serving as our producer today. Welcome to a Friday edition of the show. Excited. We got a lot to get to today. Amelia Knisley from Amelia Watch. I'm off to a good start. Amelia Knisley from West Virginia Watch is going to be with me this morning. Amelia, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Welcome to the show. I may have to. We're learning the levels here, so I may have to up your microphone a little bit. Good morning. Let's try this again.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Okay, I'm still going to have to up your levels a little bit. Let's try it again. Good morning.
Good morning.
There you go.
There we go. I'll project.
There you go. Project a little bit more. So we're going to be talking to her throughout the show on several different things. It's Friday, which means Hannah Gardner from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association is here with this week's Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. We're going to talk a little high school football. As, of course, Hurricane will be in action tonight, as will Herbert Hoover. No Tom Bragg this week. Tom had some work issues to take care of. But Matt Murphy, who'll be the color commentator, will be joining us, also producing the show, and we're going to talk to him a little bit later on as well. Plus, as always, your calls and texts are welcome. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-5008. Rob, are you there? Let's go to Robb Reel. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And where is Robb Reel? Where in the world is Robb Reel today?
So I'm not walking through Weston so much as I'm walking around Weston this morning. I started just at the west end of Weston, but thanks to Google Maps and the Pythagorean theorem, I'm kind of cutting the corner going through tiny Kinchlow later today on my way to the edge of Clarksburg for day 7 of Walktober with Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Now, again, if you're just joining us, you're thinking, what is this whole thing about? We've been checking in with Rob now for a week. Rob kind of made a little bit of a promise to the listeners that if we raised a certain amount of money for WVU Children's, that Rob would walk the check from Charleston to Morgantown. And he left last week, and he's having to walk the back roads because interstate probably not recommended. I got a whole host of folks in the studio with me this morning. Rob, I've got Amelia Knisley from West Virginia Watch, Chris Lawrence, Matt Murphy, getting ready to talk some high school football. Amelia, do you have any questions for Rob here?
I just want to know what he's eating. Like, is he stopping at local food spots? What is it like? What's the food journey like?
I'm doing my best to stay local, and actually, fortunately, as rural as some of this is, local is really the only option, let alone the best option in some of these places. You're not running into a lot of chains in places like Pickle Street. But one of my favorite things about this so far is I've been finding like local ice cream joints. I got a blueberry milkshake at the Coke and Float on the west end of Weston yesterday. I've kind of got my heart set on Polling's Dairy King later today. So a ridiculous amount of dairy. So I will be the guy who gains weight walking 172 miles.
Rob, this is Chris. I admire what you're doing, but I just got to check. I would hate for this thing to come to an end and you walk into WVU Children's Hospital and go, oh, man, I forgot the check.
Isn't that exactly what I told you last week, Rob? Isn't that exactly what I said to you?
It is exactly what you said.
You do have the check, right?
Oh, man.
Now he's got to start all over again.
Yeah, you're going to have to walk back down here and get it because nobody's going to drive it to you. So
for those of you playing our home game, Dave actually pinch hit for me yesterday at an event at the Putnam Career and Technical Center and took Truck Norris with him. So as long as he didn't move it, it should still be in the back of the cab, right?
Well, I mean, I did stop on the way home for a six-pack, and somebody said, "That's a cool check." I said, "You buy me the six-pack of beer, and I'll give you the check." So
there isn't a place to endorse it.
So all you got out of it was some old Milwaukee. Sorry, buddy. Hey, Rob. And by the way,
you get the good stuff.
I do want to. Well, I'm in radio. I do want to mention though. Please follow along on the Facebook page of 96.1 Superstar Country KWS, because Rob's been posting some beautiful pictures. And they say, the experts tell us, Rob, this is the weekend over the next couple of days is the peak time to see the colors in West Virginia. And, brother, you're seeing them.
Oh, man, the experts are right on the money. Mountain Mama has been showing off. And I have to give the hat tip to her, because even with, cooler and only like 68 yesterday, it's still been fantastic weather for late October. And it looks as though she's going to be good to me all the way through Thursday when I do finally get to WVU Medicine Children's.
And, Rob, you are a Marine discharged from the United States. There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. I know that. But
we are retired.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does this remind you of your days back in the day of just humping it from here to there?
Yeah. I've countless 20-mile marches with 60-pound field packs.
So this is nothing for you.
Well, it was nothing for me when I was 20. I will turn 51 1 week from today, and Father Time is undefeated. I'll just say that.
Exactly.
Lots of Tylenol, my friend. Lots of ibuprofen.
Be safe. And we discovered last week, this is TMI for the radio. Welcome aboard, Amelia. But last week his biggest problem was chafing. It was chafing. So the next year.
Gold Bond.
Gold, that's what I said.
Gold Bond.
Next year brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration and Gold Bond.
Yes, Gold Bond medicated power, as Paul Harvey used to say.
Yeah, it's been Harry Chafin and the cats in the cradle if you take the meeting.
All right. On that note, we're going to let you go, Rob. Be safe out there. Get you a little rest this weekend. He takes the weekend off, but he's not, he's still, he needs it. He needs it. And he's going to arrive Halloween at WVU Children's Hospital with that check for upwards of $170,000. So, Rob, great job, man. Be safe. We'll talk again on Monday, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Thank you.
All right, let's talk to Chris Lawrence, high school football, because you got a good one tonight with a Hurricane at Riverside, sir.
Indeed. This is one where Riverside has just had hard luck all season long. They come into this game 1-6. And some key injuries to Riverside to just add to their troubles. But this is still a proud bunch in Eastern Kanawha County, and they would love nothing better than to pull the upset tonight and spoil this one. Hurricane has been in this situation before where you're facing a team that doesn't have the greatest record. You cannot allow yourself to look at that and have a letdown. And I talked to Donnie Mays last night, and he said, we focus on ourselves, not necessarily the opponent. And if you do that, you can really take care of business. And that's what they'll be doing tonight, is to just try and get better with every rep. And that's, and the other thing that Hurricane has to guard against is overlooking this game tonight, because they've got George Washington and Martinsburg to close out the regular season, and can't be peeking ahead on that schedule. You got to keep your eye on the prize tonight down at Quincy. So we'll be on the air at 7 o'clock. Aaron Parker and I will be there and have the game for you on WCHS Radio.
And on West Virginia Outdoors tomorrow?
Oh, my goodness. You asked me too quickly. I've got another really big deer story, this one from Kanawha County. It's antlerless hunting weekend, and I got a couple of stories regarding that. One is this organization called Warriors in the Field always has an event around the antlerless deer hunting days where they take veterans hunting. So we'll check in with them. And also the Governor's One-Shot Hunt is this weekend, which is one of the major fundraisers for the Hunters Helping the Hungry program. We'll talk to Glenn Adrian, who is the chairman of that, and we'll get a perspective on the Governor's One-Shot Hunt that'll be taking place this weekend as well, plus some other stuff. So you'll need to check it out tomorrow.
All right, Chris, appreciate it, man.
All right, dude.
Thanks a lot, Chris Lawrence. Again, he and Aaron will have coverage tonight of the Hurricane at Riverside game. That's on 580 WCHS. On 96.1 KWS, though, Tom Bragg and Matt Murphy will have the call as Hoover entertains Elkins. As I said, Tom a little tied up this morning, but we do have Matt Murphy in the producer studio now putting on his sports hat. So, Matt, are you pretty excited about this game tonight, buddy?
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. 5-3 Elkins Tigers are coming into town. Oddly enough, even though we We've still got 3 weeks left on the season. Tonight is senior night in Elkins. The last 2 games of the season for the Huskies are going to be on the road. So this is the last one, at least until probably the playoffs for the Huskies tonight. But Huskies are currently 7-0 on the season. They're taking on the 5-3 Elkins Tigers. So the Huskies have just been having a really great season. Dane Hatfield, senior quarterback, has been setting records left and right up there, and I'm sure he is going to pile on some more yardage onto that tonight as well.
All right, and we'll be listening. Murph, I do appreciate it, man, because I know you were probably a little bit tired after doing Trick or Beat last night. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on.
Yeah, that was a bit much last night.
8 million children last night over at Gomart Ballpark.
9.5 million.
The numbers are going up. It's like Trump rally numbers. They go up every time he tells the story.
Let me tell you what, I feel for Robb Reel because I walked 31,000 steps yesterday, and at the end of the night, all I could think to myself was, is this how Rob feels? Because this is terrible.
Yeah, indeed it is. But, at least you get to sit down and do the game tonight, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. Tom and I will take on the pregame at about 6:55 on 96.1 KWS and 96.1KWS.com.
All right. We'll be listening tonight. I'll give you an opportunity to get Hannah Gardner up and running. Murph, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Uh-huh.
I'll quickly remind you that we do the show from the Par Mar Store studio. If there's not a Par Mar store near you now, there will be soon, including the TA Travel Center Amico, which is now open at 470 Frontage Road in Mineral Wells, just off I-77, and the IHOP, which is located inside, just opened this past Tuesday. If there's not a Par Mar store near you now, there will be soon. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Come check out the F-150 in action at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Shop anytime, thornhillford.net, or stop by US 119 in Chapmanville. Phone calls to the show, a service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly on Spring Street. Texting services provided by West Virginia's finest men's store, Tony the Tailor, Virginia Street in Charleston. Visit bestmastertailor.com. Amelia Knisley from West Virginia Watch is here. We've talked football. We've talked 2 different football games. We've talked Robb Reel. You ready to talk some dogs now?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's bring in Hannah Gardner from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association with this week's Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. Hannah, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, and I've got Amelia Knisley on here from West Virginia Watch, and when I was talking to her the other day, I said, would you like to come in a little bit early to talk to me with Hannah? And she said, could I? This is my dream come true. And I think it's all about the dogs, right, Amelia?
Yes, such a cute dog. A cute dog.
We got, as always, our pets photo is posted on X, on the artist formerly known as Twitter, on Dave A70. That's the handle. And also on my radio page, Dave Allen Radio. The dog's name is Stimpy. Hannah, tell us about Stimpy.
All right. Well, Stimpy is a very, very, very sweet boy. He's very, very friendly. He is kid-friendly from what we know. And, of course, even if we know that for sure, we always advise caution, never to leave them alone for the first at least 3 months, I would say, just so that way they can get acclimated, used to the way your routines are, your lifestyle, all of that. And then you never know what makes a dog uncomfortable. It's kind of like bringing a stranger into your house. So you never know. So just always be cautious. But he is 3 years old. He is neutered already, so he's ready to go home already. He is available for fostering if anybody wants to foster him and get him out of the shelter for a little bit. You could even foster, and if you fall in love with him, then you can adopt him over the phone, or you could come up and adopt him, whichever you prefer. But he is a very, very good boy. He is microchipped and vaccinated, so he is all up to date on that. I do believe he has his rabies vaccine as well. And he is 50 pounds, or at least he was about a month ago, I think. So he could be a little bit more than that, but I would say he could be a little bit more or less, but I would say he's around the same.
How does he do?
He's a really, really good boy.
How does he do on the leash?
He does really, really good on the leash. He does pull a little bit, but that's usually just like when he gets distracted or sees something else. He's pretty good on the leash, though. He doesn't really pull too hard. However, I will say he is deaf. That's a big factor to mention. He cannot hear. I don't think he can hear at all. I think he's completely deaf. But he listens very well to, like, your hand signals, and I don't know what all he may know, if he knew anything prior to coming to the shelter or anything. But he does listen pretty well, or I guess he just kind of watches you pretty well and just listens to like your body movements and stuff like that. But he's a very, very good boy. He's a social butterfly. We do have him in play groups with a bunch of other dogs, and he is very playful. He is great and thrives around other energetic dogs. So he would be a good companion for someone who has another playful, friendly dog, who has the time and patience to work with a deaf dog, to learn the ins and outs of a deaf dog. And we can always give you resources and help with any of that as well.
I will remind you that the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Hannah, I got a text here waiting on you when you got here this morning, as you normally do. It says, I have wondered about this for a while. Any idea why you can't scan an animal for a chip with your phone instead of taking it to a vet or a shelter?
That is interesting. I don't know if it has anything to do with like certain like things inside of these phones or not. So I don't know if that would like affect the phones. I have no idea, but I will say that it would also be, I don't really know if it has anything to do with privacy or not. Like, cause typically when you take it to a shelter or clinic or something like that, the staff members there will contact the people. But I do think that some places do tell you, so I'm not 100% sure on that one, but we could definitely find out and
definitely
see.
Look into it.
It's something that would be interesting.
So you had an event last week out at Dutch Miller. Tell me how that went. It was an adoption event. How did that go?
Yes, that went absolutely great. I think we did 35 adoptions while we were there.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and then they were very, very great up there. They always help out. It was amazing. We had a lot of people out there to just see the dogs and to also just adopt the dog. So definitely worth it. We're glad we go every year, and we're very thankful for it.
How are we looking on numbers as far as what you've got in the shelter?
I'm pretty sure we're still either max or over or at capacity. I know I heard yesterday there was only like one kennel open entirely, so it's probably filled by now. But we are just doing our best to try to figure out ways to help get animals out, even if that means us going to other events that we may have to like plan, schedule to try to help get them adopted, get them seen, get them out, fostering, adopting, volunteering, anything like that helps out. We are in need of any extra help that we can get. I think that we're still hiring too as well. So if you wanted to come in and fill out an application, fill out any volunteer information, adoption information, come on up. We also, of course, love the donations that come in and appreciate those as well. And we are always in need of pretty much everything, I will say, especially where we have a full house right now.
All right. And they're always in need of things like washcloths and sheets and old rugs and things like that. You can take any of that stuff, Hannah.
Yes. Sheets, blankets, towels, old quilts, comforters, anything like that we will take. I will say we have had like people bring in multiple bags of like pillows and stuff like that. We will take like one or two, maybe like flat, bigger pillows, but we typically don't use like the little throw pillow, stuff like that, just because they're too small for them to lay on one, and then they just chew them up. So we don't typically use pillows, but blankets, all that stuff we do.
All right. Hannah, we will talk to you again next week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hannah Gardner from the Canal Charleston Humane Association. Stimpy, Amelia, is the dog this week. Stimpy.
He was so cute in his Halloween costume in the photo.
Yeah, and so if you want to see that photo that we're talking about again, you can just go on over to Dave Allen Radio on Facebook or at Dave A70 on Twitter. Stimpy's 3 years old, around 50 pounds. He is neutered. He is deaf, so we need someone who can be patient with him. And I thought, Amelia, it was kind of interesting that when they got him, you don't know what the dog's history is. Obviously, he can't tell you. But he seems to react well to hand signals. So maybe somebody, and I don't know what his backstory was, how he got there, but maybe somebody has worked with him in the past. And he's still relatively young, so maybe you could teach him some things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he plays so well with children and other dogs, he must just be very malleable.
Yeah.
Able to go with the flow.
Beautiful, beautiful dog. Stimpy, 3 years old, around 50 pounds. He is neutered and deaf, microchipped and vaccinated, very playful, loves other dogs and kids. Let's try to get Stimpy adopted, all right? Again, the picture's posted on on my social media. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. In the heart of West Virginia, there exists a profound force that goes beyond the realm of sports, transcending limitations and fostering a sense of belonging. Talking about Special Olympics, a remarkable initiative showcased in the latest episode of West Virginia Enriched in collaboration with Huntington stands as a testament to the power of determination, unity, and unwavering support. See a video highlighting the Special Olympics at facebook.com/580WCHS. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to spend the time talking to Amelia Knisley from West Virginia Watch. Got several things in the news I want to talk to her about, plus your calls and texts too. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Back after this from the Parmar Store Studio on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses are small businesses with big impact, including Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness.
Hey, adventure seekers, step up to the starting line on the Thornhill Motor Mile with the Ford F-150 at Thornhill Ford Lincoln. Hey, it's Sydney with the truck that redefines tough, built with a military-grade aluminum alloy body and a high-strength steel frame. Whether you're hauling, towing, or just cruising, the F-150 is your ultimate companion with up to 14,000 pounds of towing power. Ready to conquer your next challenge? This truck month, come see the F-150 in action at Thornhill Ford Lincoln on the Thornhill Motor Mile. Shop anytime at thornhillford.net and US 119 in Chapmanville. Step up to the starting line with Thornhill. Must qualify for all offers through Ford Financial. See Thornhill for full details.
The Husson's October Special. A largest large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie for just $23.99. Visit your nearest Husson's for dine-in, pickup, or delivery. Order now at HussonsPizza.com. Want an unfiltered take on sports and society? Join NFL All-Pro Carl Lee on Let's Talk. No-holds-barred discussions on hot topics with surprise guests you won't hear anywhere else. Sunday afternoons at 1:03 on the Voice of Charleston 580 WCHS.
Welcome back. It's 9:28, the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues, allergies, respiratory problems, and more. Pinnacle offers specialized indoor air quality services, residential, commercial, and industrial type settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net because what you don't know can hurt you. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Amelia Knisley from West Virginia Watches here. You're getting a full education because you've been on the show many times before, but never really in this role. I've had you on to talk about different things in the news, and we're going to get to that and some stories that you're working on here momentarily. But we've talked football. We've talked Robb Reel's walk, a little bit of everything today.
I've loved it. I mean, I've listened, but it's nice to be here and see it in person. I've known Chris for a while, so good to see him.
Think about the new digs here, huh?
It looks great in here.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Once we learn how to operate everything, it'll be even better. And then by that time, we'll be ready to move because they're moving us back into the old studio once I haven't been down there to check on the renos in a while. I'm going to have to go down there and see what it looks like. But we're having fun with it. I do want to give a big shout out to everybody who came out last night for the Salango Law Trick or Beat over at Go-Mart Ballpark. I, as Rob mentioned, wasn't there last night. I was in the beautiful town of Eleanor for the career fair at the Putnam Career Technical Center over on our sister station, KWS. But I want to talk about Trick or Beat. Everyone here tells me it was great, something like 3,000 to 5,000. I mean, came somewhere in that neighborhood, came through the gates last night, counting the kids and the parents and whatnot. Big shout out to Salango Law and all the other sponsors who made it happen. It was a great event last night. We're still stealing people's pictures on social media right now. We've got some posted on. I've got some on Dave Allen Radio, and there'll be more to go up throughout the day. But it was indeed a great event.
It looked so crowded and fun. My kids' preschool had their trick or treat last night, so we couldn't make it over there. I was so sad. But the photos I saw, man, it was packed. Looks like, and great weather. Oh, you couldn't beat the weather. You're absolutely right about that. But again, thank you to everybody who came out and made the entire thing possible. The next thing over at the Gulp at the ballpark we'll be watching will be the Light the Night. Yes. And talked to Jay Silverman about that the other day. I mean, they've got like double the lights that they had last year, and we'll be giving you more information on that. You can always visit the Dirty Birds website, dirtybirdsbaseball.com, if you need more information there. Amelia, last night, we hear so much in West Virginia about the lack of opportunities and the lack of jobs. And a lot of that is warranted. I completely understand that. But last night, I had an opportunity to pinch hit for Rob on KWS to go to the Putnam Career and Technical Center over in Eleanor last night, where they had this
job fair. And it wasn't just a job fair. It was kind of an open house that they did over there. And they estimated at any given time, well over 1,000 people were in and out of that building. And we're talking about some major hitters here that were over there last night. People like Nucor, CAMC, Appalachian Power, various police and emergency folks were over there. The Green Bus Company folks, actually with the high school, with the guy who's doing some of the recruiting there, a good buddy of mine named Jimmy Perry. Jimmy was over there last night. So, I understand that in West Virginia, and you cover a lot of this, we have a lot of issues, but there are jobs available out there, and employers are begging for people. And that's what I got in talking. I sat down with Morgan Tenney, who's the executive director of the Putnam Development Authority, did a little interview, which Chris featured on the morning news this morning. They're just begging. They're begging for people. And we've got to figure out, in my opinion, how to build a bridge here. And events like this are a good part of it, because many people showed up with, resumes in hand, ready to go to work. But we've got to do a better job somehow of bridging these two things together.
And I think we also have to start advertising those jobs younger, so that West Virginians feel like they can stay and get high-paying jobs, right? Brain drain is our biggest problem, I think, or certainly one of our biggest problems. So I think it's great that they're trying to connect with younger West Virginians, but I think even in middle school, we've got to start saying, here's a path for you to get a high-paying job.
And we were talking, I was talking with Steve Animal about this a little bit earlier this morning. Animal, for once, and I had a serious conversation, believe it or not. We do from time to time. But we were talking about both of us, and he's a little older than I am. Okay, he's a lot older than I am. But Animal and I were talking that both of us, being radio geeks, I knew in third grade what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on the radio. That's what, or
That's
if
amazing.
It wasn't radio, it was television or something related to entertainment, media, so on and so forth. Animal was the same way. And it would have been nice, and I had some great teachers in the 70s and 80s, don't get me wrong, but it would have been nice had somebody been able to see that in me and say, well, let's get him in classes that are more, and again, it's not a knock against the education system back then. It just wasn't done anywhere in any field back then. But I had a great friend of mine from junior high and high school who was rebuilding car engines when he was in the 7th grade. He was taking apart old cars and putting stuff back together again. And I'm thinking, if somebody could have got him then, as opposed to when he was in 11th or 12th grade, and got him into some of these programs at an earlier age. And he turned out fine, but he could have probably turned out more finer, for lack of a better term, if he'd have been able to do that a little earlier.
This wouldn't necessarily help with journalism, because I, like you, I kind of knew in high school I was interested in writing, but didn't find it until college, right? Because we didn't have a newspaper at my high school. But I think something cool that has happened in my journey into adulthood is that VOTEC and those types of careers have become very promoted and accessible. Our legislature has put money into that. And I think that's a good thing for West Virginians, right? Not everyone is going to go to a four-year college. And I kind of like that. I think it's become more normalized and even encouraged to pursue these other careers. Because I think, at least when I was in high school, it was like, you have to go to a four-year college.
Yeah, that's what they told us.
Yeah, and I still definitely support that, right? But I think it's cool to see that there's a lot of growth in the VOTEC industry and trying to reach out to young West Virginians.
And some of the programs that they offer over there at the VOTEC Center in Career Technical Center, I guess, or in Eleanor, Putnam County. I mean, the school has won national awards. Yeah. The Teacher of the Year in that particular field, I interviewed her last night. She is over the culinary program over there, and that's a growing industry. Yeah. When Steve and I were talking about that earlier this morning, with everything with AI, whatever, you're always going to have people to actually make food. Yes. You're always going to have that. You can order on a kiosk if you go fast food, but somebody's got to make it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's a growing field. They've got kids that are in forensics programs over there now. They're in 10th, 11th grade, and they're already studying forensics. Lineman programs with guaranteed placement. One of the sponsors of this show is Bridge Valley, and they've got these different programs with Toyota and things like that. You graduate on Thursday. By Friday, you're on the line working,
making $90,000,
making $90,000 at 18 years old.
Yes,
I mean it's incredible. So they do great work over there, and you'll be hearing a whole lot more about those folks. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Meeks Realty Group. Rich the Realtor's always happy to take your call. This beautiful listing in Scott Depot, 75 Poinsettia Drive, 5,600 square foot home, 6 bedrooms and more. It's got 2 laundry rooms, full house generator, Just a fantastic looking house. Call or text my good friend Rich the Realtor, 304-932-7488. Let him tell you more about this property. Rich will be on the show on Tuesday taking your questions if you have real estate questions. I do want to mention this, a little programming note here. On the day before the election, and that would be Monday, November the 4th, we're going to do something special here on the show. I have invited the two candidates for Kanawha County Commission, Democrat Natalie Tennant and Republican Chris Walters, for a little sit down, Amelia. Not a debate. We've agreed upon that, the three of us. It's going to be a forum where we're just going to talk about the issues and what each plans to do if they are elected to the Kanawha County Commission. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and the way we're going to do this as far as interaction with listeners on that day are welcome to text into the show, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, okay, and I don't want to make anybody mad, I'm not going to ask either one of them if they think that Trump lost the election or won the election. I'm not going to ask about national issues. That's not what county commissioners do. So it's not, and we're not going to take name calling and that kind of stuff. If you have a legitimate question about a public works project or whatever, then we'll talk to Ms. Tennant and Mr. Walters about that. Again, it'll be the day after the election. But if you want to get questions in ahead of time, before the texting time, I would appreciate it if you can just email me. My email address is dave.allen@wvradio.com, dave.allen@wvradio.com. Send them in all next week, and then on a week from Monday, which is the Monday for Election Day, we're going to spend about 30 minutes or so, 30 or 40, talking to Natalie Tennant, the Democratic nominee for County Commission, and Chris Walters, the Republican nominee, and I think it's going to be pretty good. I had a text. I mentioned that yesterday on the show, and I don't know if I can pull it up right now or not, but I had a text to the show here it is. This was from yesterday. It said, Dave, many audience members can learn a lot from the Tennant-Walters camps, that there's no reason to hate, insult, or smear the other side.
I love to hear that. Seems like it's been a very clean race between them, and I'm looking forward to that sit down that you're going to have. What's one issue you're interested in hearing them talk about?
Well, I'm just going to, I'm going to have each of them, just state what is it that you want to work. Infrastructure,
give their
things that infrastructure, the age old things, getting people, Kanawha County has suffered a major population loss, and not everybody's moving out of state. Many are choosing to move to other counties. They're moving to Putnam County. They're moving to the Eastern Panhandle. What can they do as a county commissioner? I mean, they're not miracle workers, but what can they do to try to get some of these people to stay here? You name it, all over the board.
Yeah, I think those are great questions. And I think, too, just addressing some of the safety concerns I know people have had, and infrastructure is key. I mean, with what we've seen happen on the west side with water and the gas, all those things, I think it'll be interesting to hear their thoughts on that as well.
And that's coming up on the Monday before the election. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Bridge Valley. If you're interested in improving your company's IT workforce, know that they offer custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gap. At Bridge Valley, train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. They can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Amelia and I are going to dive into the news. She's got some things that she's been working on over at West Virginia Watch. We're going to talk to her about that. Your phone calls are welcome, and your text too. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text, 304-935-5008. Back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you a physical therapy assistant and looking for an opportunity in orthopedics, wellness, and athletic care? If so, Generations Physical Therapy is offering flexible work hours and an upbeat atmosphere. With 7 convenient locations, Generations may have a job designed for you. Visit generationspt.com.
Welcome to Poca Valley, where we've been in business since 1908. Today, we serve Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties. We believe you deserve banking that provides friendly customer service. For all of your financial needs, stop by one of our 8 convenient locations. Call us at 844-782-2651 or visit us online at PocaValleyBank.com. Poca Valley, where relationships matter.
Member FDIC.
Your next fall adventure is just around the corner at Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hurricane. Now, whether you need a vehicle to get the family to the football game, to the pumpkin patch, or up into the mountains to check out the fall colors, Walker has got you covered. We're talking everything from Wrangler, Grand Cherokee, and Gladiator to Ram 1500, 2500, and 3500. Walker has got them all. That's because Gene and Ryan have loaded down the lot with inventory, both new and used, to make sure that you're going to find the perfect vehicle for all of your fall adventures. And And once you find it, you know that you're going to get the best deal possible at Walker, too. That's because they built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games in Walker, just honest, fair deals. So what are you waiting for? Fall is the season of adventure, and Walker's got the cars, trucks, and SUVs that are going to get you there. Take that short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
This is J.B. Akers, one of your delegates in Kanawha County. I'm asking for your vote in this November's election for the privilege to continue representing you as a Republican in the legislature. As your delegate, I take a common-sense approach to solving our challenges. I will always work hard for better jobs, better roads, and better schools for you and your families. My name is J.B. Akers, and I will be honored to have your vote so that together we can take a common-sense approach to making our state a better place to live. Paid for by J.B. Akers for West Virginia.
18 minutes away from 10, Friday edition of a Dave Allen Show. 580 Live, the voice of Charleston, WCHS. Brought to you by Hudson's Pizza. This month at your favorite Hudson's, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and an 8-inch chocolate chip cookie, only $23.99. Trans-Siberian Orchestra coming to the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center December 5th. We've got your chance to win free front row tickets. Be listening all next week for the keyword of the day. Once you hear that keyword, head over to WCHSnetwork.com/TSO to enter to win. We have also set aside what we're calling power hours that we will tell you in advance that you're guaranteed to hear the keyword that hour. We're cheating a little bit. The hours are going to be during this show, 9 to 10 a.m., and then in the afternoon on Hotline with Weekly and Coop between 4 and 5. We'll draw the grand prize winner 1 week from today from the voice of Charleston, WCHS. Hoppy Kirchville, 10:06, Metro News Talk Line. In the leadoff position this morning, U.S. Senator Joe Manchin on the show. Also, the Mountaineers are headed to Arizona tomorrow night. Voice of the Mountaineers, Tony Caridi's on. And as always, as you well, you know it, you love it, Steam Release with Hoppy coming up at 10:06 Metro News Talk Line. I've got Amelia Knisley here with me of West Virginia Watch. Tell us about West Virginia Watch, though. You've been on the show before and maybe glossed over. What exactly is West Virginia Watch?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We are a nonprofit newsroom serving the whole state of West Virginia. We are for women, which is really cool. We have all been in West Virginia, some of us more than a decade doing news. And our content is free, no paywall on westvirginiawatch.com. And we also give our content for free to newspapers around the state. So I saw this morning that one of my stories was on the front page of the Fairmont newspaper, which I love as part of our mission to help support our local papers as well. And we mostly focus on state government, the legislature, and other issues around the state.
And good stuff. Be sure and check that out. All right, early voting is underway. Are you a early voter or an election day type person?
So I'm usually an election day type person. Then I go to work and cover the elections and eat pizza like a good journalist, right? But this year I am going to early vote so I can take my daughters. They did the primary voting with me, and my 6 and my 4-year-old, they were like, "When are we voting?" They're excited. So I'm gonna early vote.
All right. Let me just tell you one thing though: don't take pictures inside the polling place.
I do know
I learned something in my time at Secretary of State's office. You cannot photograph inside. It is against the law to photograph inside the polling place.
That is true. You can, however, take your phone to use a sample ballot if you made notes on your phone or whatever.
Okay.
So you can take your phone out, but you're right. You cannot take any photos.
Don't take pictures. Text says one issue for both Tennant and Walters has to be about the homeless vagrant problem that has expanded far beyond Charleston. Something has to be done. Small dribbles here and there like this are how both Seattle and Portland started. They are now both out of control with the homeless doped up zombies out on the streets. I will get that comment to them. So if you're listening now, and I know they listen to the show, Walters and Tennant, there's your first thing right there. We're a week and a couple days away. That somebody wants you to work on. Speaking of voting, Amelia, you have a story out about motivating people to vote. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So we were saying just a few minutes ago, we've seen great numbers on early voting around the state, but West Virginia overall has abysmal voter turnout. The 2020 election, we were the second worst voter turnout in the country, with about 55% around there showing out to vote. But in some counties, you had less than 30% turnout. So I think it's a mixture of issues. Apathy toward political parties, a feeling that we're going to go for Trump, so why vote? Also, I think, poverty, lack of transportation play into it as well. So for county level political parties, they are really trying to motivate those voters because we've had so many counties flip to red. And in some of these counties, you've got just 1,000 registrations separating Democrats and Republicans. So while it is expected that the state may give their electoral votes to Trump, in these legislative races, those votes really make a difference. And so county, local level people have to really motivate their people to come out and vote.
And what I have noticed is a trend over the last couple of years, really since Trump came into power, so to speak, when he was first elected, is, and I've used this example on the show many, many times. Listeners are probably tired of hearing it, but you can't run for the assessor of Wetzel County that you don't say, I stand beside President Trump. No, you don't. I mean, you don't, because he doesn't really put a lot of emphasis on the assessor's race in Wetzel County, But that's a selling point, and we saw that in the primary. I'm more Trumpier than you are. Trump likes me more. No, Trump likes me more. He likes me more, kind of a thing.
Presidential elections merging with local elections are tricky because I've seen some mailers and some ads where certain positions are saying, I'm tough on the border. I'm going to be tough on this. And it's like, that has nothing to do with the particular job that you're being elected to do. And also, West Virginia is not short on issues that need addressed legislatively or in your local commission, whatever it is. So, it can be, I think, certainly difficult for voters to say, what exactly are you going to do to help me here in Wetzel or in Parkersburg or wherever?
Yeah. And again, politics has become, we could spend an entire 4 or 5 days talking about this, Amelia. Politics has become so nationalized now. And I've got a little age on me more than you do. I don't remember back when the first election I voted in was 1988. I do not remember at that time House of Delegates people, candidates for sheriff, candidates for even governor, calling out whoever was in the White House or whoever they wanted in the White House, saying, that a vote for this person is a vote for this, this other person in Washington. It just becomes so nationalized now, and a lot of it has to do with the very thing we hold in our hand, which is a phone. Everybody stays connected 24 hours. I'm all about the information age, but it's also known as the misinformation age because, as you well know, there's more sources now to get information, and there's more sources to give you crap information out there too.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you look at Patrick Morrisey, who's running for governor as Republican. You look at Jim Justice, who's running for the U.S. Senate. They both have been campaigning. Well, certainly Jim Justice has been campaigning for Trump. And Morrisey's, one of his things he says, I think the most I hear is I was the biggest supporter for Trump in West Virginia, one of the first to come out and support him. And so they've kind of contributed to that rhetoric as well. I think it's really interesting that Jim Justice has done not that much campaigning on foot. He has the weekly press briefings, but he hasn't really traveled the state as much, but he has gone to Pennsylvania with Baby Dog and campaigned for Donald Trump.
Got to have the dog out there. He did tell Glenn Elliott to kiss Baby Dog's hiney. He did say that.
I hope whoever is governor next year does not lift up a dog close to the press table again. I think we're good on that one.
Text said, Amelia's thoughts on locking out independents in coming Republican primaries.
Well, I think that's something we're going to have to grapple with as a state. We're seeing a rising number of independent registrations in this state. And I was looking at county level data in some of these counties where Republican and Democrats aren't that far away. You still have a significant amount of people who have switched over to independent. It's not that they're just flipping from Dem to Republican or Republican to Dem. So that might be something we see grappled with here in the future if Republicans want to continue to have that stronghold.
Talking to Amelia Knisley of First Watch, the West Virginia Watch. First Watch.
Does sound good.
I guess I'm hungry right now, so West Virginia Watch. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, presented in part by Generations Physical Therapy. 9 practices, all offering extended hours. So access to physical therapy has never been easier. To get your appointment, call 304-760-5660 or visit generationspt.com. And as you've heard me say for the last couple of weeks, not only am I a proponent of them and they're a sponsor of the show, I'm also now a patient of Generations Physical Therapy. It's what you got to look forward to. When you have injuries and no one can figure out where they came from other than poor posture, sitting behind the wheel of a car too much or behind a keyboard too much. And so I've been undergoing physical therapy with the folks at Generations PT. That's why you see me leaning to one side. And somebody pointed out in one of the pictures on social media, they said, "Are you okay? You're leaning to one side." Well, it's because it hurts like hell. That's why I'm leaning to one side. But they're working on me. Generations PT, Travis and those folks just do a fantastic job. So, all right, we're going to take a break. Look, we got some text for you, Amelia. So we are going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. The Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Republican Eric Nelson is the candidate for state senate that Kanawha County families can count on. Senator Eric Nelson has helped create thousands of good-paying jobs and voted to give West Virginians the largest tax cut in our state's history. Voting for Eric Nelson, you know what you get. Better roads, more jobs, lower taxes, and the best education for our children. Eric Nelson supports West Virginia conservative values. Vote to re-elect Senator Eric Nelson. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Nelson.
Fall is the best time to plant trees. MonPower and Potomac Edison are here with tips to help you plant smart. Let shade trees lower your electric bills. Carefully positioned trees can reduce a home's energy consumption for heating and cooling by up to 25%. For more tree planting tips, visit firstenergycorp.com. This message sponsored by First Energy, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and the station.
Are missing teeth affecting your confidence and quality of life? Dental implants may be the right option for you. Let Gharib Dental Group, with their skilled team of doctors at 6 locations, be your trusted source for dental implants. With dental implants from Gharib Dental Group, you can eat, speak, and laugh with confidence. Dental implants can change someone's life for the better. Visit GharibDentalGroup.com to find out more and take the first steps towards a healthier, happier smile. And at Gharib Dental Group, like always, we love to see your smile.
We need leaders in the House of Delegates who know what it takes to create jobs. We need Mark Carter in District 57.
All of us are struggling with the inflation caused by Biden and Harris. I have worked with employers paying great wages to bring them to West Virginia. I'm committed to doing it again.
Mark Carter is running for House of Delegates to improve our economy and create better paying jobs for our families. Let's elect a pro-jobs leader to the House.
I am Mark Carter, and I would appreciate your vote for House of Delegates.
Paid for by Mark Carter for West Virginia.
7 minutes away from 10. Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Amelia Knisley is here. Text says, Dave, Upper Kanawha Valley needs to vote all Republicans out as they are destroying our communities by closing all of our grade schools, and we are under attack by Republicans. Vote blue, says a texter.
Well, as a reporter, I'm not going to comment on political parties, but I will say education is a key issue going into this legislative session. And going back to those voting numbers, that's something local political parties are really trying to stress. As we've seen a huge push to expand school choice in West Virginia, there is money leaving public schools to go toward the Hope Scholarship, which is our education savings account program. So that is certainly an issue I think political parties are trying to use, specifically ones that are for Democrats, saying, we need champions for public schools in our legislature.
We'll talk about kids.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that you have kind of, I don't want to say built your career on because you're multifaceted as far as journalism go, but you do focus a whole lot on children's issues. You're a mother, and that probably plays some into it. But I think you'd be doing it regardless, just because of the kind of person that I get to know you pretty well. The legislature will be meeting again here in a couple of months. There'll be new faces, as we've talked about there, because some aren't running and whatever. We don't know exactly what the makeup's going to be. Chances are there's going to be more Republicans in there because that's just the way West Virginia is leaning right now. That's not an endorsement. That's just the way that West Virginians are leaning right now. What are some of the biggest, obviously a very obvious question, some of the biggest obstacles that they're going to be looking at as far as child care issues in general go?
Well, you hit the nail on the head with child care. That was an issue that was supposed to be number one, or at least at the top, last legislative session. And because of budget issues and maybe some behind-the-scenes disagreements really within Republicans, not between Democrats and Republicans, there's so many Republicans that a lot of the disagreements are within them, not necessarily between the two parties. But that issue really didn't go anywhere. We haven't seen any significant child care legislation pass. So coming into this next legislative session in 2025, that's going to be on the top of the mind for many legislators. And that comes back to workforce, which we were talking about earlier. If you want to grow the workforce, which is a huge issue for many people in government right now, we have the worst workforce participation rate in the country, or the second worst. You've got to be able to provide childcare. And there are some legislative ways they can do that. And then I think public education, certainly figuring out how do we deal with our teacher shortages? How do we deal with a rash of school closings we're probably about to see, and supporting the growing number of kids who need IEPs and special education services. And then also foster care, of course. This system is still struggling. We have more than 6,000 kids in foster care. Every year we see a number of bills come through that are aimed at either fixing parts of the system, but now we've seen a shift in bills to preventing kids coming into the system. And those really didn't get the traction last year that their sponsors had hoped. So I think those are the big issues to watch next year.
Text says school closures are county boards, which are almost 100% Democrats. I agree. Vote them out. Sincerely, a texter. That's what the texter says. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Live Healthy West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine. Live Healthy, tackling pressing health issues of all types. It's a podcast offering insights into medical breakthroughs and preventative care, featuring WVU Medicine's expert physicians aimed at fostering healthier lifestyles. It's a valuable resource. Check out the latest episodes on WVMetroNews.com under the podcast menu and start your journey towards better health today. Text says Senator Stewart isn't closing schools. He's for deconsolidation. I had Senator Stewart on the show earlier this week, and he said that very thing.
Yeah, I listened to that. I mean, school closings are very complicated, right? It's a complex process that it's, yes, population decline, and it is made at county levels, but we've also seen dollars leave public schools, and as a result of that, parents leave public schools. So it's a complicated issue that while it does get decided at county level, what happens in the capital, our state capital, certainly impacts our schools down the line.
Text says Dave, gas was $2.45 a gallon in parts of Kentucky, lower when Trump was president. It was $2.65 then. Text says the school board members who voted to close the schools are not Republicans. Well, technically they're nonpartisan, right, but a simple Google search, you can find out what people's party is or are. It's not very difficult to do.
I just think it's a very complex issue. And I'll be honest, it's not something that I've written a lot about, but it is on my radar to do after the election. I'd really like to dive into the school closings around the state. But it's, I think just looking at the infrastructure of schools, I mean, school board authority money only goes so far. And when I travel into some of these more rural counties for work, these schools need significant work, and it takes money to do that. And if you don't have the population for various reasons to pay into that school system, it doesn't work. So yeah, like I said, it's a local issue, but it goes up the chain as far as what's causing the issues, I think.
And the economic aspects of it's what I talked to several people about, is, it costs more and more to keep these older schools going, and you can't necessarily get the right type of people that can work on these old schools anymore. I mean, it does come down to economics, sadly.
And the cost of materials are so much. I mean, the new school they're building in Clendenin, the price kept going up and up and up because of the cost of materials, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's a complicated thing. And as we talked about last time I was on the show, the legislature gave school board authority money to the Charter Board Association for charter schools. So you can understand why teachers are upset about that.
Amelia Knisley, remind folks where they can read your stuff.
WestVirginiaWatch.com.
Free, no
paywall.
You always got to get that in there. Free, no paywall. So appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Great job. All right, coming up on Monday's show, we'll have more on Robb Reel's walk. He'll get a couple days rest. We'll check in with him from the road. Coming up on Monday. Also, Aaron Martin from Kanawha Valley Senior Services will stop by, and one of our candidates for office, a current sitting member of the House of Delegates, Democrat Hollis Lewis, will join us on the show as well. Hoppy Kirchhoff coming up. Metro News Talk Line at 10:06. Download the all-new Metro News TV app and the WVRC Media app. From our producer, Matt Guitar Murphy, and for Amelia, thank you so much. See you Monday. Till then, have fun and love somebody.